All right. Happy day. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever time of day you're tuning into this, happy Monday to you folks. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Whatever time of day you tune. Mic check 1 2. All right, we're good on Facebook. Hold up, let me share it out real quick on Facebook, and then we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into it. You see the topic, you see what we're talking about today. It's a lot. It's a lot. Got to address. A lot we got to address over here. A lot we got to address over here. All right. Next thing, let me just get on to real quick. Mic check, mic check. Play, mic check, mic check. All right, YouTube, be good. Mic check, mic check. There we go. There it is. There it is. All right. Let's get right into it. Good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time of day you may be tuning into this. First and foremost, introduce myself to any newcomers, anybody that may be new to my world. My name, as one Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time actually, published author and educator. What I do, what I created, what the whole Move Swiftly brand is all about is taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners, so they have a staff, they have a group of employees that moves as efficiently as a championship high school or youth football team every single day. We do not take days off, folks. Okay, we do not take days off. There's a couple things going on today, seeing that it is the final Monday of May. I've held myself accountable for the past couple months to go back and look at what my last month's goals were of the last month, how I did. So I'm going to be going over and assessing how I did in regards to how my monthly goals and the monthly goals I set for myself. So you'll see me be very transparent in that regard too. Also, we have something called a Make Your Move Monday kickoff question. What we do is we start off with a very complex question and we break it down. A complex question that's going to be relevant to you as a business owner. All right, these are the people that I primarily serve are the folks that are looking to build strong teams, that are looking to they have a business that they love very, very much, and they want to make sure that they're entrusting it with the right people. All right. We kind of got a glimpse of it yesterday. If you're a big sports fan, you watch the Knicks, absolutely shock. I mean, absolutely shocked. You got to give them New York Knicks their props. They shocked the Indiana Pacers. I'm a Miami Heat fan, so, I don't really have a dog in the fight, but I did go to school in New York. I grew up north. I grew up in, my guy, what up, cuz? I see you. Yeah. I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in Maryland, so you damn sure can't root for the Wizards, So I was for a while there. I was an Iverson fan, Sixer fan, and then I jumped over to become a Heat fan and all that. But then I did go to school in New York, so I'm happy to see the Knicks actually doing something, making something happen. They looked down and out for a little bit, and to think that they did it without Jalen Brunson really getting off, it is what it is, man. But we'll see. It looks like it's going to actually go all 7 games. So speaking of, if you're listening, cuz we gotta figure out a way to get the live stream set up to where I could come in and bless your platform of sports. You come on, bless mine with some of your urban gear and stuff like that. We could just keep building the brand and all that stuff. So that's number one. Next thing we're gonna do is we have something, like I said, the Make Your Move kickoff question. The Make Your Move kickoff question today is we're going to dive into this topic of black fatigue. All right. I am the most qualified person that you're going to hear speak on this. This became a thing a couple weeks ago, and I gave myself some time to really listen to other inputs, really listen to other people, and understand where both sides are coming from. But pretty much it is just fatigue. It is just when you are tired of hearing bullshit. All right. Tired of hearing bullshit, tired of hearing excuses, tired of hearing why stuff didn't get done and all that kind of stuff. So you put the term black fatigue there as if it's gonna to kind of distract you from the fact that it's just fatigue in general. It's just the feelings that you get when you have fatigue and when you're tired of preaching the same old good body bullshit. All right. So before I get into all that, let me just run through some announcements real quick, and then we'll jump right into the article. I'll probably cut this one too because I still am still out here in Naples. Enjoying, absolutely just enjoying it. So I'll probably cut this one around 40 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on how I get going. You know, there's no direction, no telling where I'm going to go with certain things. So first and foremost, if you are a business owner and you have not yet, make sure you go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is free guide, FREE, free 99, folks. You got to pick up the free information when you can get it. All right. freeguide.makeyourmove.com. I created a very, very easy to understand 10-step process in which you can utilize right now to make it so your team and your staff is moving very cohesively and they're working together. It's broken down into a very, very simple math problem. Establishing measurables and creating a professional distance. That is what creates the productive environment. All right. This is why I always tell you all, look, when you talking about a football organization, when you're talking about having a staff like a football team, the measurables is to win games, right? The measurables, you're measured by a certain thing. You're measured by how well a player is running a 40, how well a player is executing a certain play call. Measurables every day. That's what happens, and then establish that professional distance, and that is what leads to the productive environment. So that's what you want in your business. Make sure you go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. And next thing, if you are ready to pull the trigger and have me come in to do an actual employee development seminar and employee development workshop, that will leave it so you do have that staff, you do have that organization, you do have that team, you do have that team that knows what they want, knows how to get there, knows exactly what's going on in their organization, and they treat the business as if it is their business. If that is what you want, if that sounds like what you want me to come in and teach your organization, go to makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. You can book me to speak right there. You can learn more about me. Do your research. Whenever you're making an investment of this size, it is important that you do the research on whoever it is you bring in. All of that is available. Ain't nobody hiding, ain't nobody ducking. It's like Coach Prime, baby. I ain't hard to find. All right, right here. I am not hard to find. All right. So all that being said, let's get into today's article. Let's get into today's topic. So for those of you who do not know, if you are new around here, what I do is I write the article. I write the article a couple days in advance before we get to the actual subject. And then on here, I'll read the article directly. By the way, too, if you're on Medium, make sure you're following me on Medium as well. It's medium.com/moveswiftly. Move at Move Swiftly. I am considering, so the new book that I'm going to be dropping, it should be ready around, we're going to talk about that throughout today. So it should be dropping somewhere around the football season this year. With the Medium followers, people that are following me and subscribe to me on Medium, you will be getting a free book with the purchase. Obviously, you got to cover the shipping and all that, but you will be getting a very sizable discount when it comes to bulk orders of the book, Wintrepreneur, how you can, decide if you want not just Wintrepreneur, you get Transfer in D1, you get the six-figure athlete, you get Make Your Move, all the material, all right? And yes, the process is, I am in the process of getting all this stuff on Audible as well. So, just stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, but right now we're going to get to the right now. And the right now, we're going to get into this conversation of black fatigue. All right, before let me just give my thoughts real quick before I start recording, because I talked about it earlier this morning. The concept of black fatigue. All right, black fatigue was brought up, has become a thing because there are people, whether it is not, we'll say it like this, non-black people that are getting tired of hearing excuses as to why things are not getting done. All right. You don't have to be black to have those feelings. You don't have to be black to have those feelings. You have to be white to have those feelings. You don't have to be Asian, Mexican. I don't care what you are. If you are of the human race, if you have common sense, if you have a damn pulse, at some point, you're going to get tired of excuses. You're going to get tired of stuff not getting done. You're going to get tired of empty rhetoric. You can get tired of someone saying they're going to do this, saying they're going to do this, saying they're going to do that, saying all sorts of bullshit. And eventually you're going to want to get stuff done. That's what fatigue is. You just put the term black there because, the term black is there because a lot of things have been going on since the summer of social justice, since Black Lives Matter, since George Floyd, since all that other stuff was coming out. Now it gave a lot of black people an excuse to start using racism as an excuse as to why they're not getting to the places that they want to get to. There's been a lot of people calling this stuff out. Now, me, myself, and I'll dive into this in a second. Let me just get this out real quick. Me, myself, I didn't have that. I didn't grow with that. I grew up in a two-parent household. My black father and a black mother both were on me about everything, and a black older sister. My father would make me read to him. He really would make it a point to make it so I knew where I came from. And there was no excuses, because you take that type of energy in the household and then you align it with some major football programs that won championships. That was a Capitol team that won multiple championships. There was no room for no damn excuses. There was no room for, I ain't getting where I want to be because the white man did. No, it was a hardcore, full throttle. We going to play and we going to kick some ass. So that's what we're talking about today. That's what we're talking about all throughout this entire week. So buckle up, get ready, because we're going full throttle out this motherfucker. All right. So first and foremost, let me get right to the article, and then we'll kind of react to things from there. Reading directly from the article, podcast listeners. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, make sure you share, subscribe, like, comment, do what you got to do. All right. This thing is, definitely appreciate the support and all the love that I've been getting. We've been doing this for a while now. All right. So anyway, no days off, Memorial Day. No days off on Memorial Day. Black fatigue, accountability, and a new month of moves. All right. So here's what we're doing by As One Correction. It's the final Monday in May, Memorial Day 2025. And while most folks are firing up the grill, here in the Move Swiftly world, we're locked in. Why? Because every Monday is Make Your Move Monday, the day we set the tone with a powerful question. And since today is also the last Monday of the month, that means it's time for two added pieces of business. Number one, a full recap on how I performed on my goals for May, and number two, forward-facing layout of my goals for June. All right. This isn't just content. This is accountability in public. If you want to understand why I do this, check out the article that I kicked it all off. All right. So real quick, let me just go back. So this was April 28th. This is when I first started doing the monthly goals and making them the last Monday of every month. So as you can see, these were the monthly goals. Just again, public proof, and public accountability, folks. Public proof and public accountability. So before we get to the monthly goals, though, let's get to the kickoff question and let's dissect it for now. Again, this is going to be part of a larger conversation that we're having throughout the week. All right. So kickoff question. What the hell is black fatigue? Let's get straight into it. This phrase has been everywhere lately, and I'm stepping in to bring clarity to the conversation. What the hell is black fatigue? Let me explain something up front. I'm not just qualified to speak on this. I'm the walking, breathing case study. My name, Aswan, is a variation of the Arabic word Aswad, meaning black. I was raised in a Caribbean household where Black history wasn't a month. It was our lifestyle. I grew up in predominantly Black and Latino schools. I was recruited to a predominantly white Catholic high school to play football and attended 3 colleges in 3 different states: rural, metro, and suburban. That was it. Those were my first. Listen, before I go further, let me just break that down for you guys, because it was really complex stuff that I didn't realize was happening to me. So from K all the way through 8, it's just primarily Black and Latino schools, public schools. And then I'm showing on the football field. I'm showing I have the ability to lead. I'm showing that I have the ability to not only do it on the field, but also academically. And I got recruited to go to a Catholic high school named Good Counsel High School, which was predominantly Caucasian, predominantly white. All right. After that, I go to East Jefferson City, Tennessee, which was a Division II school named Carson Newman College, which was kind of in a rural area. It was really, really a dry county. Again, predominantly white, but very country type place. I tore my ACL. I moved back home to go to a community college, and this is where it was kind of the metro area community college where I was working and I was going to school at the same time. After that, I transferred to Stony Brook, which was in Long Island, New York, which is like suburb type. That's why I said, metro, suburbs, and rural, which is a suburb type, and I'm playing football there. And this school, if we're talking about the actual school, was mixed with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of Asians there, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of different cultures, because Stony Brook is a public university. The thing is, with Carson Newman, it was a small liberal arts college, and it was only a select few people that actually went there. The enrollment wasn't as high. So this was 22 years old. 36 now. I'm 36 now. I just turned 36 this year. So this was approximately 14 years ago when I graduated college. So from that base, from that standpoint where there was a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of things that I learned in the home, a lot of people I met, a lot of people from all sorts of backgrounds that I met, all sorts of backgrounds that I met, then the actual real world started. Then life actually started. All right. So, and I don't have time to dive into all that. That's why I write books. And that's why, you guys can go purchase the books to read that story in full detail. I'm just explaining to you that, hey, there's a lot of diverse backgrounds I've had. All right. Now, my podcast listeners, I am going back to the article and reading directly from the article. All right. I spent over a decade in the field as a college scout, a high school football coach, a fitness consultant, an educator, and now a business owner and thought leader. I don't talk from the sidelines. I speak from inside the game, folks. All right. I'm talking to you. I threw up my resume, I threw up my background. So when you understand this conversation of Black fatigue, I am the most qualified person that you will find, period, to talk about it. All right. So now let's get into what it is. Black fatigue is the emotional and mental weariness that comes from repetition of pain, excuses, and the weight of racial identity being exploited. Absolutely. Perfect. I could listen. Let me pause right here because I want to make sure you guys understand. The line in this where it says racial identity being exploited. That's what some of these people are doing. That's what these race hustlers are doing. They race to value and value what they're about. That's what they're doing, is they're exploiting something that cannot be controlled. They're exploiting a situation. They're exploiting people. They're exploiting where you're from or what you're about. They're exploiting these things, and they know they can exploit it because you cannot control it. You cannot control where you came from. You cannot control what was in the home. You cannot control a lot of these things. So instead of actually leaning into a element of, look, I'm going to put in the work, I'm going to put in what I got to do, every time something doesn't happen for them the way they want it to happen, all of a sudden it becomes racial. All of a sudden this person did this to me, this person did that to me, all sorts of stuff. Hold on, let me see something. My Wi-Fi, I'm noticing my Wi-Fi is kind of down right now. Noticing my Wi-Fi, folk. Wi-Fi, come on. What's the problem? All right. There we go. All right, we're back. All right, so back to the article. But let's be clear. This is the dangerous part. This dangerous part is when it becomes a license for inactivity. All right. So before the Wi-Fi there went off, I was explaining to you how folks who use racial identity as a way of exploiting people, exploiting things, are using it because they can't control where you're from. You can't control your race. You can't control how you grew up. You can't control, which is what color you came out the womb with. That's just not something you can control, right? So when you're using that as an excuse for why things didn't get done, the dangerous part, reading directly from the article now, the dangerous part is when it becomes license for inactivity. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. When you're a race and you decide you're not going to do something, all right, when it starts to become an excuse for inactivity, when you don't actually try, when you don't actually put in the work, when you don't actually go out and send the job application, when you don't actually go out and then make the phone call, when you don't actually go out and try to make the sale or whatever it is you do for a living, when you don't go out and actually apply for the job, when you don't go out and actually ask the person out, when you don't go out and actually do it, when you start using race as a license for inactivity, that's when it becomes this isn't just a bad thing. It becomes a dangerous thing because young kids are watching this. And when young kids get to a point where they're old enough to make decisions on their own, then they're going to start saying, hey, look, I'm this color, that person, that color. I'm not even going to go engage them in a conversation. I'm not going to go even engage them in work. I'm not even going to go try because I'm assuming that because of what my race is, I won't get to the places I want. That's when stuff becomes really dangerous. That's when stuff becomes really bad. That's when progress is not made. That's when actual society stopped and is not moving forward. If everyone had that mindset. All right. So let's go back to the article. When people blame systems instead of setting goals, when folks scream racism instead of showing receipts, when leaders opt out of accountability by leaning on buzzwords, that's why I'm talking about this, all right? And that's why I'm transitioning into the next section, not as a talking head, but as a black man holding himself publicly accountable for what got done and what didn't get done in the past 30 days. This is why I was very strategic. Before I get into the goals, I want to make sure I kind of put a cap on how we're going to be discussing this throughout the week, all right? As we talk about black fatigue, this is the premise in which we're coming at it from. We're coming at it from a premise of we're not making excuses. We're not just going to not be active. We're not going to just go around saying, oh, because my race is this, and because my family is this, and because that family did this, and because this, that I'm not going to just try. I'm not going to actually actively try to do something. I am going to make sure we're seeing where it's coming from, and then it's going to stop being about black or white fatigue. It's going to be black, white, Asian, whatever the ethnicity you want to put in there. It's going to stop being about, ethnicity fatigue and just being about fatigue in general. Are you a lazy mofo or are you not? Period. Point blank. That's the goal. The goal by the end of this week, as we kind of run through the whole entire black fatigue conversation, it's you're either a lazy mofo or you're not. All right. That's it. That is the point. That's the point of today's discussion, the point of all week. It's either you're going to be a lazy mofo or you're not. And I'm going to be the barometer on if you are a lazy mofo or if you're not. A lazy mofo or if you are not. All right. So here we go. Right into my recap for the past 30 days. All right, so my recap, a C+ and 100% ownership. That is the grade I'm giving to myself on the final Monday of May, and I'm giving myself a C+, which is not at all acceptable. Now, again, for me, though, personally, it's going to be hard to give myself an A+ because I'm just as hard on myself as anybody actually is. All right, so a C+ is the grade I'm giving myself because of the way, again, what the goals were last month compared to what they are now. So let me take a sip of coffee and then I'm going to run through it and explain and walk you through all that. All right, so hold on, let me get situated here. All right. So my May recap, a C+ and 100% ownership. Let's talk results. This past month, I give myself a C+, not because anyone held me back, not because the world is unfair, but because I didn't execute at the level I set for myself. That's the real opposite of black fatigue. That's black ownership, all right, or ownership in general. You don't have to put the term black there. That's just ownership of the results and the ambition and the goals that I set for myself, I'm holding myself accountable to say, hey, I could own this particular thing not getting done. And that's not the white man's fault. That's not somebody else's fault. It's not some person's fault who is doing this and doing that to me. That's on Aswan. That's Aswan's accountability and hold himself accountable for things getting done and not getting done. That's what it's all about. All right. So that's the real opposite of black fatigue. That's black ownership. Reading directly from the article, podcast listeners. All right. Goal number one of last month was to finish chapters 4 through 6 on how to be a wintrepreneur. I didn't finish the chapters, but I completed a detailed outline and know exactly where the story's headed. The foundation is solid. The time management needs work. That's what I needed to do. Let's go back to, let's actually, you know what? Let me do that real quick. Let me pull up both up. I'm pull up both. So podcast listeners, I'm pulling up both the article from last month. Let me see the article what makes you a pro? Yep. Yes. So May goals. I'll do it like this. I'm going to read May goals. I'm going to read the May goal, and then I'm going to go back to how I did. So May goal was write chapters 4, 5, and 6 of how to be a wintrepreneur must be completed. I'm aiming for 10 total chapters with pre-orders going live by football season. And then here's this month. The goal was to finish 4, 5, and 6 on how to be a wintrepreneur. I didn't finish the chapters, but I completed a detailed outline and know exactly where the story's headed. The foundation is solid. The time management needs work. So basically what I did is I know exactly what I'm going to be writing for chapters 4, 5, and 6. Like, it's already written down. I just didn't I didn't manage my time the best to make sure it actually got done. So that's why I can't give myself a check mark there. I can't give myself a plus there. Got to give myself a minus. The same way you do when you're, coaching guys up. And we used to, I remember back when we played football, the next game, after the game, we'd go into the film room and the coach would give us our they would grade us out as a plus or a minus on the sheet and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, practicing what we preach. All right. So goal number 2 for May was to 25 new leads per day. And yes, I'm still pushing myself to hit 100 a day using smart prompts and ChatGPT as my new best friend, right? All right, so here's how I did. Goal was to generate 25 to 100 leads per day. I didn't hit the numbers, but I launched my first Google ad, which was a huge plus, and used ChatGPT to build a clear, trackable outreach structure. Now it's time to execute it daily. Here's what the structure looked like. So basically, here's what I did. I didn't hit the initial goal was to hit 25 new leads a day. And as you're reading, I was pushing myself to hit 100 new leads per day using the smart prompts and using what we have in ChatGPT and smartphones and all that kind of stuff, using the ability to get in touch with a lot of different people in a lot more of a rapid way and a lot more time efficient way. I wanted to figure out how I can get to 100 new leads a day. So I did not hit. So go back to the article, reading directly from the article that dropped today, is I didn't hit the numbers, but I launched my first Google ad, which is a plus. ChatGPT helped build a clear, trackable outreach structure. Now it's time to execute it daily. So with ChatGPT, when I put it in for ChatGPT and I said I want to hit 100 new leads a day, and this was after me prompting it with a lot of different things and asking a lot of different questions about myself and what I'm all about. Is, if you guys been keeping up with me throughout the month, you guys know I talked about worldview, how my worldview may conflict with a lot of other people's. I was translating that, and I was talking about, I was taking that data and then allowing ChatGPT to help me figure out how I can get a structured plan to hit these 100 new leads today, to realistically hit these goals, right? So basically they laid out the numbers like this. They said, look, contact 25 small business owners, teams of 5 to 50 or more. They need workshops. I speak fluently. All right. I'm reading directly what they put in there, so I know how I can structure it. So it's 25 small business owners. It's 15 high school and college coaches, football and track, lived on their sidelines, talked to them about possibly doing some play-by-play, using this platform to help with highlight tapes and doing games and interviews and stuff like that. So that's 25, 15, that gets you at 40. If my math is correct. Yep. 10. Yeah, they get you at 40. And then they said 10 college professors and department chairs that they plan events and book speakers. I bring value. There we are at 50. All right. So we have 25 small business owners, 15 high school and college coaches, and then 10 college professors and department chairs. We're at 50 now. Then they went further and said, all right, after you do that, contact 20 HR and learning and development professionals, human resources and learning and development professionals. They manage culture, my workshops, elevated, all that kind of stuff. So now we're at 70. We're at 70. Then they said, all right, 15 podcast hosts, authors, and speakers. They bring platforms. I bring real content. Also, I've gone back to interviewing several people on my podcast. So that's been a great plus as well. And then 15 solopreneurs with smaller followings that are looking to come on my platform and stuff like that. So again, there goes your 100 people a day. And then what I actually did is I made sure I created a spreadsheet that's going to be easily trackable. So these things actually get done and they don't take me 3 or 4 hours to do them. But they're one of those situations where because I prompted it in the right way, I was able to get some feedback so I can do it the right way. That is accountability, folks. There's no excuse for you not being able to do stuff like that. It doesn't matter whether I'm being a black person or a white person. It doesn't matter who you are. You have the ability to do that. And you don't get to look back and make excuses as to why stuff didn't get done when you have all of these resources and all of these forms of technology and all of these things around you, behind you. You don't get to look up 10, 15 years and say, I'm not where I want to be in life because somebody did this to me and somebody did that to me. That's being a loser. All right, that's losing every single day. That's being just a lazy mofo. All right, you do not have the luxury, you do not have the excuse of just being lazy anymore and just pretending that you're not doing certain things and why certain things aren't getting done. That has to be the goal. That you have got to get that in your skull. That what I just laid out to you is why I'm able to come on and speak as frequently as I do and give you the quality content as well as I do. All right, so. Hold on 1 second. I'm seeing the Wi-Fi is fading on me again. Let me get a sip of coffee. Oh, it's back. It's back. Morning. All right. So now let's get to. All right. Those were goals number 1 and 2. Goals 1 was finish 4 and 6. All right. So that's how I did. Let's see. Now. For the other goal, the third goal, which was rework. Yeah, so going back to the article on going into May, was rework the Patreon model to align with 60K a year, with the 60K a year offer. I want to test the marketing behind it and see who it attracts as we approach the summer of the fall. All right. And now let's see how we did. The win I'm most proud of, the smart pivot on Patreon. I took a hard look at the Patreon model I was building and made a smarter move. Instead of pushing memberships, I launched the free guide.makeitmove.com. Now I offer the value up front, track my visibility, and use that as a base to deliver services and offers I used to hide behind a paywall. Smarter pipeline, same impact, way more momentum. So let me simplify that for any podcast listeners, any listeners in general, not just podcast listeners. So one of the goals was to rework my Patreon model. So I do have a Patreon link, but I'm not getting the traction that I want. Oh, excuse me. Wasn't getting the traction that I want when it comes to the Patreon model. It's basically, actually I have it right here while this Wi-Fi loads up. So this is the Patreon model that still exists, but instead of pushing people to become members of this Patreon model, I decided, hey, I will just simply have them, as you can tell, probably if you're a regular consumer, I've decided to really just focus on getting people to go to freeguide.makeitmove.com. So that way I have built up a solid email list of the people that want that free guide. And who knows, maybe they may not want a membership. Maybe they just want me to come directly and speak to them, or maybe we can create a membership amongst those crews. So that instead of adding that middle piece to the Patreon, it's just a matter of focusing on folks getting the free guide right here that you can get. And it just makes the process a whole lot more cleaner. Work that system. And I needed to think about doing that going into this month. All right, so here we are. Let me see where we are in time. All right, so I'll get you through the June month goals, and I'll finish out the article, and then we'll pick it back up when I'm back in Palm Beach tomorrow for the top five Tuesday, top five reasons why Black fatigue even exists. So here we are, new month, June goals locked and loaded. Right, chapters 4, 5, and 6 by June 15th. So I'm giving myself about 2 weeks, about 3 weeks from this recording to get 4, 5, and 6 done. Outline, and then going into June 30th, I need to have the outlines for chapters 7 through 10. And again, it's only going to be a 10 chapter book. So by that time, it's going to be July, and we could only focus on getting promo, since for the most part, it'll be written. All right. So, and then also in June, reach the 100 new leads a day. I got to follow up with that. I got to make sure I'm reaching out to those 100 new leads a day, all, being tailored and figuring out, putting them in that same group of that same system that I explained to you guys before. And the next thing is refine the follow-up system based on performance data from outreach. So that includes the Google ads, that includes the how many people are just downloading the free guide and doing this and doing that. And again, use freeguide.makeitmove.com to track. Leadership is ownership. If you were confused at the top about what Black fatigue means, let me just say this. What I'm doing, showing up, taking L's, resetting goals, owning the results. That's not fatigue, that's leadership. And that's what we need more of in this world, especially from Black men. So yeah, it's Memorial Day, but the mission doesn't stop. All right, the mission does not stop just because it's Memorial Day. The mission and the goals do not stop just because we have a day where a lot of people kind of relax and take it easy. We get a lot of people that have days off and all that kind of stuff. We do not do that over here. That is not what we're about. That is not how we handle our business. That is not what we work. We make sure day in and day out, we're doing what we have to do to set our goals. And apologies if you were listening and there was some spotty Wi-Fi here. I am recording this outside out here in Naples, so the Wi-Fi wasn't the best, but guess what? It still got done. No effing excuses. All right, so I'll cut that for today. I'll dive more into it, like I said, tomorrow as we get into the top 5 Tuesday, and we'll break a lot of things down. I'll be back at the school tomorrow morning, so I'll be doing my recordings from there and all that kind of stuff. So again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I'm doing and everything I'm all about. It's makeitmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.